I focus primarily on rope, although I also perform on silks and hammock and span sets, starting to play with some other things as well. And really I got started on a whim. About 5 years ago I was taking a break from everything else I was doing and signed up for a class and got hooked and just kept going and training, and since I was taking a break I had a lot of time to devote to it. And it just sort of developed from there. I'd always been a very physical performer, which didn't always work so well with my mediums I was working in at the time. So I think it's really the physicality of it, the possibilities in storytelling that keep me going, that draw me to it. One of the reasons I fell in love with rope is because it's the simplicity of it. It's just a rope. How are you going to tell me a story? I started out as a classical musician, as a singer, and cycled through a lot of different phases. I started out in Baroque music and early music, and I did a lot of new music and new work, and ended up doing standard opera rep as well. And the storytelling became more and more important to me over the years, rather than just the act of creating sound, which is exciting in its own way. And I kept feeling a bit stifled and looking for ways to be more of a storyteller. My pieces that I create myself are often from a character's perspective. It's not always linear. Sometimes it's kind of abstract, but it almost always is rooted in some sort of character or scenario, if that makes sense, rather than more traditional circus. I work a lot in the cabaret scene, and that's not always going to be the most melodramatic story that I tell, but it's really fun. I love the intimacy of it. The interaction of the audience often feeds what's happening. If I come in with an idea of a character, sometimes that changes a lot depending on the night, the performance, what's being given in the room from the audience, the other performers, the host, all of that kind of thing. The piece you saw at Dixon Place at No Holds Barred, that's a very different kind of piece that doesn't quite fit in the cabaret scene, so it's sort of, I'm not sure where it fits, but I make things like that as well. I think the intimacy of cabaret is so important, but I also think that that piece, which is 8 minutes long, is not going to be in your standard variety show. I'm interested in work that combines circus, the aerial arts with other forms of theater, combining with music or with other sorts of visual artists, and trying to tell stories from different perspectives that way. Even after all these years, obviously as aerialists we do a very thorough physical warm-up, and I always did that as a singer, as many singers do, a pretty thorough physical warm-up. But even now I still have the instinct to do vocal warm-ups. So when I go to warm up for a show, then it's like, oh wait, I don't have to do that. I'm not using that today. I don't want to set limits on it. I mean, I think this is my path. I teach a lot too, and I love that. I love teaching aerial as well. I'm interested in exploring more collaborations with different kinds of artists, and I'm always looking to stretch that way. I don't want to box it in. There's all different kinds of performers in a variety show, and they all have a different way of commanding space and taking up space in the room and forming that intimacy with the audience. I think what's so exciting about that scene is being close to it, because often those spaces in New York are very small and intimate, so you can really see that vulnerability on the stage. And I think that's what's compelling about a performer. When you sink your teeth into a collaborative process, there's always a new high. There's always a new goal, right? I do feel more peaceful with this path. I feel I don't feel stifled. I really do feel like there's endless possibility in this kind of work.